This is most unlike me, but I have actually planned where I'm going to put my colours. And yes, we're going to have a go at making a geode type of thing again, but on a little scale. And I want the colours to go across. I normally go round and round, so this is a little bit of a departure for me. This is fun stuff. You ever use this? I'm going to cover the back with this, simply because I can't find my masking tape. And last time I used painter's tape, it didn't do a lot of good. And as you can probably see from the back of this, I've just tried sellotape, and that's just made a mess as well. These boards were 6 for £3 from the Works. It's like a bit of a bargain bookshop, but they've got a really rather good craft selection as well. This is the brush that usually gets all sorts of nasty jobs inflicted on it, so messing it up with some of this won't hurt. I'm going to go up to the edges. I'm not going to worry too much about going right into the middle. I'm just trying to get good coverage up to the edges. Liquid latex is fun because you just peel it off afterwards. But yeah, I do need to get myself a roll of masking tape, which is ridiculous that I haven't got any. Well, I have. Just don't know where it is. Yeah, I promise I'll clear my craft room one day. I've been saying that for months. I can actually find stuff. Does anybody else do that thing where you can't find stuff, so you end up buying another one? What usually happens then is the original turns up, doesn't it? A friend of mine had that happen with a snake. It escaped. It had been gone for like a couple of months. They'd ripped the house apart. They'd even lifted floorboards and all sorts. Anyway, he gave up and went and bought another snake. First one turned up within days. I guess it was probably hungry at that point. It wasn't even a very well camouflaged snake. It's red, white and black. He said it looked a bit sheepish. Leave that to dry, and I'll put a second coat on. I find it easy to get off if there's a couple of coats, so it's a bit thicker. That's the only reason. So I'll see you later when I've done that. So what we've got together then is our resin. First of all, we're going to use Quantum. Now, this is the regular Cure Speed one. They do a 1 to 2 hour one as well, which is just fiendishly fast. But I thought we'd use this one because I think if you're going to go into these very, very thin coating type resins, really intended for tumblers and things like that, then this one is probably easier for most people to start with because you've got more like a 6 hour cure. So it just gives you that bit more work time. But I don't know if you can see this in the bottle. See it? Can you see how thick that is? That's amazing, isn't it? And I think also the one with the slightly longer curing time will give us more time to mix all our colours so we can pour them all at once. With the quicker one, which is this, then because it fast sets like that, you've got very little working time, and you need to kind of do one colour, then mix the next colour, then mix the next colour, and so on. Whereas this, I think, will give us the work time that's going to be a lot easier for doing these sort of geode effects with. So we're going to need a few bits and pieces here. First of all, obviously a cup. We're going to mix some of the resin up. I've got some colours here. This is Aquilegia from Create and Bloom. I've also got, this is also from Create and Bloom, a lovely, very pale, subtle lilac shimmery mica powder. I've got some Supreme White, and just because, and that's from Just For You Online, and this is a floating silver powder. I've also got, in case we need a bit of white shimmer, I've got some of my Super Sparkle White, the 200 mesh one, and that's from my shop. Now, let's get this resin mixed up. This stuff has been a total revelation to me. And I think you can see, if I zoom you in, I think you can see how thick that is. And it's a 1-to-1, so it's so easy to mix. Now, as usual, I'm eyeballing it, I'm afraid. But you should mix it properly. It's 1-to-1 by volume. It is a little bit forgiving either way, but not a great deal. Like most epoxies, you've got to be fairly accurate. It's just one of my superpowers. But look, see how thick that is? I've never seen an epoxy that's that thick that actually works before, but it's amazing. Now, this is the weird thing with it. When you mix it up, it's going to get bubbles in it. It just will. It's the way it goes. What we're going to try and do, I've got some of my glass chunk kits as well here. We are going to try to actually not worry about the UV resin for fixing down the crystals, bits of glass. For the first layer, we are just going to go straight in and sprinkle them onto this resin because it is so thick. So let's see if that works. It may or may not. I might end up adding glitter as well, and I don't know. Anyway, we're going to need to give it a good stir for 2 or 3 minutes. Now, this isn't, when you're stirring your epoxy, that length of stirring isn't just to make sure it's mixed. It also is starting to activate the chemical reaction so that you can, you know, it starts a curing process basically. So you want to keep stirring until it goes completely clear. With these, of course, we do get fuller bubbles. Don't forget, although these resins are BPA free, VOC free, even when they start to react when you've mixed them, pretty much odour free and everything too, you still need your respirator, because once you start heating them up or adding colours, I mean, these colours should all be safe, but you never know, and particularly if you're using things like alcohol around it, or alcohol inks or whatever you're putting in, it changes the nature of the resin, so it can start to give off VOCs. I've always got carbon VOC filters going in this room, windows flung open, fans going, and a respirator, of course, even though this stuff is safe. It's also food safe, you might be interested to know. So if you're making resin bowls, you could coat them with this. And a UK certification, you know, is going to be correct and safe. Right, I'm going to start mixing up some colours. So let's get a cloth ready and a couple of pots. We're going to want some clear. You can see how thick this is. It's incredible. Might need a bit more mixed up afterwards. I don't know. This is only a small board, so maybe not. Might need to split down another pot for the white and so on, but let's get some colours on the go. And then while the colours are settling, I'll go and get all my glass pieces together to make the kind of crystal effect. Now, this is the Aquilegia colour. Go on, I know. How purple could this video be? This is a lovely opaque pigment paste. You don't need much. In fact, I probably didn't even need it that much, because it's such, you know, it's so heavily pigmented, being a paste. It looks so pretty on my shelf. Sorry, came over a bit girly there. Right, now let's have a look at this mica Lilac Lullaby. Isn't that beautiful? If I remember rightly, probably don't need much of this, but I'm going a bit mad. I do want these to be quite opaque. I was just going to say, if I remember rightly, this is very pearly. Look at that. And being a good quality mica, it doesn't form into clumps, so you can just give it a stir. I always leave them a sec after I've stirred them, just a minute, just to make sure there's no bubbles come up to the surface. But you usually find with the better quality micas, they just mix in so easily. Next one we are going to definitely need is going to be white, and I always end up using quite a lot of white. Again, we don't need much, but I do want it to be fairly opaque. I'm not bothering painting the board or anything, because it's white anyway, and we've got purple in the areas we want purple already. So this is Supreme White. And of course we've got the silver. And I've got it all over my gloves. That always happens with the white. I've had that pot so long, the little pot's got mucky. Right. I am going to mix up a little bit more, because I am going to want some clear, and I'm going to want a little bit of silver. By the way, if anybody wants to play with the quantum resin and would like just like really small, that's the 1 litre kit, but if you can get really small bottles in a starter kit. So if you're having a go at making tumblers for the first time, there's a really good course that Create and Bloom run, and it's live, so you can craft along and ask questions as you go. That's awesome, because I have done that. And the other thing is that Create and Bloom actually do a starter kit with this Apex Quantum from Just For You online in little dinky bottles, and it's got all like the pigments and the glitters and the bloom drops and everything you're going to need, except for the tumbler and the tumbler machine itself, because obviously you'll choose your own of those. So if you're wanting to have a go at using this for the first time and you're thinking tumblers, which is what it's intended for after all, then can I direct you to that? I will put actually that link down in my video description for you. No, I'm not an affiliate, I'm afraid. I'm not on commission for those. I just think they're a smashing little starter kit. In fact, I've treated myself to one, and I will show you what you get in one of those kits in a video coming soon, just because I think I want to show you, because they're awesome. Now, just going to take a little bit of this off. That is going to be our floating silver, which I will leave out because we do want some floating silver for some of the finishing touches as well. If this works, she says optimistically, if this works, what I'm fancying doing is getting like 4 or 6 of them and making like a display where the colours seem to flow from one board to the other, and then put them all in a frame with a little gap in between. Do you know what I mean? I think that might be rather nice. Right, now where the crystals are going to go, in the middle, I'm going to put some clear. I'm trying to not let these tip over. So yeah, we're going to put some clear. So I'm doing this all back to front. Normally I would get the crystals in first, as you know. Although you can make them and stick them on afterwards. I quite like going crystals onto the board first. I just think it's easier to get your initial setup so you know where they're going to go. And I do like to get the first layer of crystals, the chunkier ones, actually stuck down, but we're not going to do that this time. We're going to be rebels. So these are the ones we're going to be using initially. I'm not going to go too chunky because I think this is only a small board. This will be my chunkiest. And these are actually bits of broken mirror. So I'm not going right up to the big fireglass chunks. We're just going with these smaller pieces out of here. And I'm actually going to use, rather than all the crystal AB that I normally use, I'm going to use quite a lot of mirror finish bits, I think, this time. So all we're doing is getting in that first layer of crystal because we want to just get the structure. I'm not going to go right down to the finest bits because, yeah, I just don't want to go that far at this stage. We'll put those in as finishing touches. So this really is just, as I said, all about that structure. So we can see where our colours need to go. And yeah, I think that should stick. Right, chunky broken mirror glass. Then I've got some finer mirror glass. So again, just put a little bit of this in. Going to have a little bit of a tidy up, obviously. And then we'll be going in with clear on top. And as I said, I don't think I'm going to go any crystal AB effect this time. Right, now we're going to tidy that up. We're just going to get a little stick and we're going to push it into where the resin is. Making sure we're kind of keeping our shape. Of course, the resin is going to work its way around and underneath it. But that is already starting to look super sparkly, isn't it? And of course, I'll put some diamond glass on last. There's going to be a bit of glitter in here. This is going to be very sparkle fest, this is. So I think that's reasonably well balanced. We've got a top, a bottom and a middle, but not too symmetrical, because too symmetrical can get, I don't know, I just find too symmetrical a bit annoying. So that's just me, isn't it? Right, I think next to the crystals, just to get the colour going and to give a good contrast, we'll go in with our purple. We're just going to go quite close to the edge and we're going to go out like so, because this is kind of our strongest colour. And I don't always put the strongest colour right next to the crystals. I keep calling them crystals. They are glass. They are glass. Oops. Let's get another cloth to stop that happening. That's so thick I tipped it over and nothing went anywhere. Right, yes. Take that bit off. Don't need to be too fussy, but there we are. And then this bigger area down the middle. I just find these geodes get to a stage where they just don't look that good. And you put the finishing touches in and it's like, whoa, look at that. Yeah, I might need a little bit more of the dark purple. It's very easy for your darkest colour to take over though. So let's let it sit for a bit and we'll see what it does. At some point I am going to get brave and do a big one of these. There's a big canvas that I did years ago above our bed that is just, I'm bored of it now. I just need to get brave, and I'm finding the ideal products for it gradually, and I think this stuff is quite a game changer. I know we say game changer in every, well, some of us do say game changer in every video. This I think is, particularly for tumblers, it definitely is. I've seen what the proper pro tumblers makers are saying about it, and there's a lot of very impressed people out there. I think I'm the only one messing about and doing random stuff with it at the moment though, so we'll see what else it can be used for. I do like to see what potential we've got. I've already found a couple of things you can't use it for. Like anything too deep and thick. So things like putting it in moulds. You don't put this in moulds, it'll just flash cure instantly. Well, almost instantly. Right, let's go in with this. Yeah, it's actually intended for, I don't know, 1 or 2 millimeters, something like that. As I said, it really is intended for things like making tumblers. That's the main thing. I think people are referring to it as the tumbler resin. So this is Lilac Lullaby. I'm going to mix up a bit more of the purple. So please do measure yours unless you've got this strange spatial awareness superpower thing I've got going on. There's a bit more purple. And I'm going to go right around that inside there because I think it's going to be too heavy at the bottom and not heavy enough at the top at this rate. Just back round, so just tracing the same route again. I bet that will take it more into the crystals a bit. For sake, it doesn't move a great deal. You want the edges to kind of feather and blend a little bit, but you also want these lovely defined lines, and this stuff seems to be rather good at doing that. There we go. So we've got a lot of this beautiful purple. I should have done this on a different colour match, shouldn't I? Anybody who doesn't like purple, I'm sorry. Right, we're now going to go in with the white. We're going along this edge. We're going to go through the middle here. We're going to go slowly so we get quite a thick pour and then speed up and then go slowly again because we want it thicker at the ends, you see, so it's spread wider. And we are going to put a bit of that silver through. Again, I'm wondering if I've got enough of the white because there's quite... I always end up using a lot of white. I think you always need the white for the contrast, don't you? Okay, so I've decided on a little bit more white because I want some white through that centre and I kind of didn't put any. So, just mixing up another little dollop of white. And this is the thing, I think if you use the ultra fast curing one, I mean, I have tried it. It does work fabulously, but it's a bit stressful because you have to be so quick with the colours. Doesn't give you time to just stand back and think about it. Because this is pretty quick cure anyway. Is it 4 to 6 hours? I'll check in a minute. It is quite quick. In the past, I've used Apex One Coat, which is 2 to 4 hours. And I found that really awesome as well. The difference with this is it's even thicker. Because Apex One Coat is pretty thick. So there's another alternative. If you've got Apex One Coat, it's either that or you use a regular one-to-one like High Gloss. You just have to wait for it to thicken up a bit before you go pouring. Whereas with this, you can just go straight in. Right, we're now going to do a bit of moving it around. And you can get in there and do this with your finger if you want. I'm just going to tease it around with my little stick. I'm not going to worry if some of the colours get into the other colours. I'm just pulling the white up to the edge of the purples. So it will self-level despite being so thick. But can you see how the colours are still, at this point, staying separated? Which is what I was after. A little bit of blending, hopefully, here and there. Yeah, a little bit of a lacing effect here and there would be nice. Make it look a bit more organic. And then we can see where we need more of whatever, really. So if you've ever wanted to be able to control your resin, you're never going to control it completely, are you? It's resin. But this does give you a much greater degree of control than you probably would have had with any other resin. Right, I'm going to mix up a bit more of the sparkly lilac. You have got something like a good half an hour work time. I've ended up with dots where I didn't want them and things, but I don't mind. Okay, so that's all starting to settle. So do I squeeze some of this out of a pipette? I don't think I'm going to be able to get it in a pipette, actually, because it has started to thicken even more. Let's just do it with my stick. We'll see if we can get a thin line. Yeah, that's pretty good. Now, I'm not going to go too mad with the silver because we are going to end up putting quite a bit of silver in the detailing, and there's quite a lot in the glass as well because they're mirror pieces. I haven't got the mirror pieces in store yet, by the way. I haven't yet found a big enough supply. I will keep you posted. The ones I've got in store are clear and Crystal AB. And my little kits, they're like little starter kits. They come with a bit of each in different sizes and stuff. Yep, I've got a little bit of the purple left. I'm going to pull that across the top there. See how the silver's spreading so much? That's why you don't want to go too mad with the metallics. Yeah, my white got a bit murky up there, didn't it? So let's pull that white in again. And then these silvers, because I didn't get them right up to the end, they're blobbing at the end. So I'm just going to drag them over the end. And I probably have got that about where I want it. Now, what I'm going to do just as a finishing touch at this stage, because we've got a lot of finishing touches to do still, but I'm going to go around the edge. I'm just going to go down on each colour just to tidy up where the colours hit the edge, because I want them to look like they go over, even if they don't drip. They may drip anyway, but I think the surface tension on this stuff is such that they might not. You know, like you get those infinity swimming pools. They go over the edge and you think they just carry on. That's the kind of effect I'm after. This over here has definitely gone over the edge. So that's doing its thing. I think I'm going to leave it at that. Now, of course, we've got, as I said, a load of finishing touches to do still. I'm going to have a tidy up. This should be, yeah, it's going to be a few hours still. And we can put in the little final details. So I want some fine silver and white linings in there to make it look more geode-like. Okay, I'll see you in a few hours. I just come back to check on it, and you can see the colours have moved more than I intended. I think I just ended up putting too much resin on there. But we have still got nice definition between the colours. that we can work with. The resin's gone under the glass a little bit, which is kind of what I wanted because it blends it in a little bit. I did start sprinkling a bit more on there and then it ended up going into the other colours. So I thought, no, I'll stop now. So there we are. That's the stage we're at the moment. I don't think it's going to move any further. So I'm going to let that cure up and then we'll be back and do our finishing touches. Right, it's now dark in my craft room, so I hope my lighting's okay for you. This is all cured up. That's pretty firm. I'm still leaving the backing on for now. And we're just going to have a bit of a clear up now. This is still soft on here. Look at that. Isn't that nice? I don't tend to throw those bits away. I've got a box full of them because you never know when you're going to want to cut up just a little bit of something pretty. So what I'm going to do next is put the detail in, and I'm leaving it raised up on my little stand here because I just find that easier. And what we're going to do to put the detail in, I've got something slightly different here that I want to try, and I might use one of these scraps to try it on actually. Let's try it on this little bit and see what it looks like. This is a nail art thing and it's ultraviolet curing. Oh yeah, look how shiny that is. Oh gosh, that's easy. What does it look like once it's cured? She says trying to find one of her ultraviolet lights. Oh my, look at that. Gosh, that's easy, isn't it? Right, okay, we're gonna be using that. Glasses on and we're in business. The other thing I'm going to get ready is a white acrylic. Oh, here's one. I was going to say, the other thing I'll get ready is a white acrylic marker pen. There's one. I've also got this in bronze gold. I think one of these was really thick when I opened it though. This is it. I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to use that one. Don't know, I'll try mixing it with some ordinary UV resin and see. That one's actual gold. But the silver's really nice and thin. So let's see if we can put some lines in with it. It's got a nice long thin brush as well, which is really handy for nail artists to do striping with. So let's carry on and do a bit more of this. I'll put you the link for this, but say it's a bit hit and miss because it's the other two bottles are pretty much unusable because they're too thick, for one of them in particular. But I was going to do my usual floating silver up around the edges of the crystals, but I think I'm just going to go with this, you know. This is lovely. And as it's UV curing nail art stuff, you just know it's going to work with your resin. You know, it's going to stick okay. And then we're going to get in with more, plus we're going to get in with more crystal-y bits, aren't we? Let's stop calling them crystals. Really, they are just glass. That's why it's so sparkly. Now, I need to look down on this from your angle and see what you're saying. Oh, yeah, that's worked, isn't it? Needs a bit more around this end here. So I'm just standing up so I can see your view of it. Like I said, don't forget we've got a lot more glass to go in yet. Some more sparkly bits. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, that's looking pretty good, isn't it? Have a bit more along this side. This silver's incredible. I'm impressed. I wonder how it'll cure where I've gone quite thick with it, though. What I normally do is mix it with mix some floating silver with the with some clear gloss varnish and work with that because I know that's water based. I just know it'll cure. So it's really piled over this side, hasn't it? So I haven't got the side-to-side lining that I really wanted because it piled over the side. Now, I know why. I definitely went way too thick with the resin. But I love how the colours have stayed fairly separate. They've blended here and there. We've got a little bit of a texture in some areas. Just love it. Team at Just For You Online. When you made your Apex Quantum for making tumblers with, I wonder if you realised it was going to be good for this too. I bet you did. Nicola and Laura at Just For You Online, in case any of you don't know, they are creatives themselves. So, yeah, I bet they had a sneaky feeling you could do all sorts of other interesting things with it. Now, where I got some other little bits of the crystal where I shouldn't have done, I'm going to just go a little bit round that as well. Because why not accentuate it where I've kind of gone wrong? Bring it into the design. Why not? This is quite a big area to get your ultraviolet over. I could fire up my big round lamp, but because I've got this up on a little stand, well, mould, I don't know as that lamp will go over it. So I'm just going to put my, what I call my overhead ultraviolet lamp. It's just a little one that's clamped on the edge of my windowsill. If I put it on a low setting and cover the whole area, that should do a nice job for me. been quite a journey learning how to do these geodes. I did book myself a nice little course, and from that, it was from Deanne Kapoor's, if anybody wants to know. And from that, I've kind of developed my own style and way, and discovering my own materials and things to use. A few weeks ago, I couldn't do these at all. They drove me mad trying to do them. So I am kind of slightly smug and pleased with myself. Let's go around this edge as well. These long thin nail art brushes don't half make life easier. Have I got enough silver lining in there, do you think? To see if they do this in white, haven't I? But I have got a white Artix acrylic marker. While I'm shaking this up, I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes with that UV light, because obviously that does need to cure up. I'll be back with you shortly. Now, I think that is going to take quite a long time for the ultraviolet to really get through it, because it isn't meant to be used thick like that. So we're going to leave that for now. I'm going to get my white in there, we'll get the crystals in, and then I'll leave the lamp on it for ages, and we'll see how it goes. So acrylic markers are absolutely great for doing this with. We're just going to define some lines, and also define just inside some lines. So we're kind of doubling up the pattern here and there. So I'm trying not just follow the edge of the colours exactly, and maybe stray away from them a little bit here. So anywhere you go wrong, don't panic. You can do that. It's fine. It works. And don't forget, your real geodes do have quite a lot of lining in them from where the rocks formed in the first place. How's this looking? What do you think, folks? I'm going to go around with some ultraviolet curing glitter. So we're going to go like that. We're going to bring it up here, and we're going to go round onto the white. We're just going to trace the white round like so, and the same round here. We're going to go just inside the white though over here. Same here actually. I'm liking this. I'm liking the silver glitter. If you don't have silver glitter glue or silver glitter UV resin, which is what this is, then just mix a bit of glitter in with some UV resin or your epoxy, and you can apply it with like a syringe or something if you wanted to. And this will cure quick because it's UV as well, which is great, isn't it? Let's bring that into the silver there. That is curing, by the way, that silver. I was a little bit concerned, but no, it's going fine. Should we glitter around the edge of that as well? Some people think glitter in this sort of thing is a bit overkill because there's enough sparkle already. It's entirely down to your taste, to be honest. You know, you do you. Whatever. I am definitely going to put a line round inside here, because that'll kind of balance it off. Aren't little squeezy bottles great? Am I the only one that's got a thing about little squeezy bottles? I think they're marvellous. Okay, I really do need to give this a darn good cure now, don't I? But I think the combination of those silvers and the glitter with the purple is rather nice, don't you? I really do. Anyway, yes, cure time. I'm going to walk away and leave this for a bit, let it cure up thoroughly, then we've just got to finish the crystals, and then decide whether I put a top coat over or not. I may or may not. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm still thinking about it. Right, I'll see you in a bit. Okay, surprise, surprise, that has cured. I honestly thought I'd put too much of that silver on around the centre, around these thick bits here, and it wouldn't have cured, but it blooming well has. I am going to go on and put the crystals in. So in an attempt to try and do this a bit more accurately, I've got a little paintbrush. It's very, very soft for teasing them back to where they should be. I have got a tiny little spoon as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to get some ultraviolet curing resin, and of course I'll be using, as I usually do, my Apex one. Anybody who can't access Apex because they're not in the UK, they do ship worldwide, by the way. But if it proves to be awkward, then Let Resin is another one that I use. And all we're going to do is drizzle a little bit of over what we already have here, and that's going to be there to stick down our final layers of crystal, just to bring that all together and give it that final sparkle. Now, if there are any beginners to doing geodes and things out here, obviously this has been quite a journey for me learning to do it. I have invested in some courses. I've experimented a lot. I think I'm pretty much getting there. Well, no, I think I'm sure I've got there actually. I'm loving doing this, so if any of you are interested at some point soon, she says, nicely vaguely, I'm going to be launching some courses. There will be a complete beginner's resin course. We take it right from what the heck is resin in the first place, right through to making some nice, simple, beginner-friendly makes. And then I will also be doing a course on making these geodes, including the clock. We're doing some of the Just For You online clocks. You may have seen that in some of my videos. I've been putting an awful lot of work into refining my different techniques with that, and be absolutely delighted to share it with you. So when that goes live, it will actually be through the Just For You online website. So I'll keep you posted. I'm dragging my heels rather with releasing it, because as a former learning and development specialist of many years, I think I'm kind of a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to courses. And as you may know, I have been doing a lot of research into what works and what's out there with courses and what the better ways of doing things are. Right, we're now going to cure this off. So away we go again. Okay, well, it doesn't need to be completely cured. That is near enough for now. I'm going to push these little bits that went a bit astray back towards the crystal areas. Doesn't matter if some stay astray, to be honest, because the whole thing's pretty sparkly, isn't it? And then finally, one last little drizzle of the UV resin. And this I will be taking now down into the ends a bit and going a little bit alongside. This is a very fine drizzle now, but I will be going out a little bit alongside where the glitter goes and outwards, because we're going in with some diamond glass now. And what we don't want to do is lose completely the chunkiness of the big mirror glass underneath. Oh, go a little bit carefully, she says, shooting it all over the desk. These are just tiny little, it looks like glitter, but it actually is glass. Little tiny fine glass flakes. And this really does add the most amazing shimmer that you just wouldn't believe it would. Really, it's incredible. Of course, you could use glitter. You could add some more mirror glass. You can make this as chunky as you like as well. You could stick some actual real crystals up in this if you wanted to. But what we're going to do right now is cure that off. Put the UV light on again. Cure that off. We're going to let it have a really good cure. And then we're going to shake off any final bits and decide whether we need to top coat or not. So I'll see you later. Okay, that should have all cured now. Now what I'm going to do is just shake it off here. We're going to brush off. Again, we're just going to give it a quick brush down. Get off any surplus. I scrape all this into a pot, by the way, so I do end up with a pot of mixed up bits of glitter. I am going to top coat. Let's first of all have a good look. Sparkling there. Isn't that nice? But I am going to top coat. So I'm going to get my gloves and everything sorted, get some PPE on the go. And what we're going to top coat with, again, you could use the same sort of resin again. You really could. But I have got some of the 2-hour cure one. I am going to leave it overnight all the same, but I will be using the 1 to 2 hour cure because I want to make sure this goes. I want it to cure fast so I can move it, to be perfectly honest. So, what you probably should do first is give it a light sand. I don't want to, because I don't want to lose the height on some of these lines. Because I cured it so quickly, then it's the ultraviolet, that is. It's left some sort of 3D to it, which is really nice. I want to keep that. I'm not sure how much to mix up. This is probably a bit too much. However, I've always got something on standby that could use a bit of resin, haven't we? Remember, this is the very, very fast cure one. How thick that is. But all the same, you still need to mix it thoroughly. You still can't, like the other one, you still can't use it in a mould. That would be too thick. In fact, if I leave it in this pot for too long, it'll probably finish. It really is this is about as thick as you want to go with it, really. Like I said earlier, I keep saying, really, it's for coating tumblers. Full of bubbles, don't let that throw you. And all we're going to do is, I was going to say trickle it on, but it doesn't trickle really. Look how thick. It's funny, isn't it? It's so the opposite of using resins that we're used to. You know, we normally fret about bubbles. It's like, they don't care. I find it really quite funny to use. You certainly wouldn't want to be putting it through a debubbling machine or a pressure pot or anything. It'll have flash cured by the time you get it out. And you don't need to, apart from anything else. Just watch the bubbles disappear as it spreads. So we're just plastering it on, and we're going to get all messy in a minute. I'm going to get in there with my glove, with my finger, and we're going to spread that around. Yeah, this is so thick, you struggle to get it to pour out of your pot, so you do end up kind of doing this. It's fun. So yeah, I think the maximum depth on this is 1 to 2 millimeters, something like that. You really, yeah, you're talking very thin stuff. Stuff everywhere. Right, here we go. So this is what I meant about getting with my finger. This is quite nice, you know. There's something quite therapeutic about spreading resin like this. It's nice. So we're just going to make sure it's all up to the crystals. Some of them are coming loose, despite me having shaken them off, but that's okay. If I get a few in places where they shouldn't be, it all just adds to the texture, doesn't it? Now, this might drip over the edges. I've put quite a lot on because I didn't want to go skimping. What I wanted to do was give a good thick flood coat. Again, the back is properly protected, so we shouldn't have any issues with getting this off. This should give it a really nice glass-like top coat. In fact, some people would put two top coats. I think for me, because it's a small piece, one will be enough. Yeah, if you're doing a bigger piece, you could actually just sand it off and then, yeah, give it another light sand and then drop another coat on top. Next time you see me, it will be for cleaning up the back and the sides, and hopefully we're done. But we can have a little bit of a stock take at that point as well and see, you know, do we need to put any more sparkle anywhere? Anyway, I will see you later and we'll decide. Here we go then, we've got a lovely glass-like finish. Lots of sparkle, and we just need to take the latex off the back, which is fun. Getting it started is the awkward bit. And there we now have a nice clean back. If I was going to sell this, I would be running a nail file just around those edges to do that final finish, and probably give it a coat of paint because of where I damaged it with trying that other tape first. But as it's just for me, I'm happy. So what do you think, folks? I think we've proven that the quantum resin is great for doing things like this. I think I will still use Apex One Coat a lot as well, though, because that is actually designed for doing shallow pours and top coating and things like that, and it flows a little bit more. It's still thick, but it flows a little bit more than the quantum. So I think it's down to a personal preference. There will be a load more videos like this on my channel. In fact, there already are a few, because my learning curve is being well documented. So if you'd like to watch more like this, then please take a look at the video that will be coming up here shortly for you. And don't forget, if you'd like to subscribe, I really appreciate it. It is free. Big thank you also to all of my lovely channel members, and I'll see you for the next video. Bye.